Groudon, 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 Groudon. Well, all of the top 8 for Japanese nationals use Groudon. That's just fantastic.
Elite Four, more like Elite Full Restore.
That's not going to get old, I can guarantee it right now.
It's never going to get old. Hello, welcome to Elite Full Restore, your favorite Pokemon podcast that is not at all inscrutable and you understand everything that both of us are saying. My name is Matt.
My name is Aury.
And let's kick it off. There's new Sun and Moon news since the last time we spoke with you guys.
Yeah, nothing is as cute as Rock Dog, but we have some new Pokemon, which is a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, nothing has yet reached the heights of Rock Dog.
It's really
but we do have 3 brand new things.
Yes.
So there was like a 26-minute gameplay video at E3.
Most of it was useless.
Most of it was useless because the guy played like no one's ever seen a Pokemon game before.
Have you seen a Pokemon game before? I sure haven't.
Actually, I don't think they really exist.
They don't. This is all a shared delusion. It's like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
The one thing that it did get to show off really well was the fact that there's like much redesigned menus. The overworld looks more like a seamless 3D world instead of like barely expressed tiles.
And at risk of saying the phrase "sure is casual" in here, Matt is really excited for the type chart finally being in the menus, which I guess is a good thing.
You know, it's super good. Like we always talk about trying to increase accessibility for players. Sometimes you just don't remember what the hell type something is.
I don't. I want you to name off the top of your head what ground resists.
What does ground resist? Because it sure isn't steel. You can look it up right now and it doesn't resist steel. I thought ground resisted steel forever.
I could have sworn that ground resisted ice, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
No, ground is weak to ice. Ice
No. The other way around. Excuse me. I thought ice resisted ground, and I'm pretty sure that's
ice
not
only
true
resists itself. That's one I could remember.
So wild.
But like, try to like remember like some kind of like there's this one awkward zombie comic where it's like how you remember different Pokemon type like affinities.
Mm-hmm.
So like psychic against fighting, it's brains over brawn.
Okay. Yeah.
Fighting being weak against flying. It's like, have you ever tried to punch a bird?
I have tried to punch a bird. Have you tried to punch a bird? You should get on that.
I haven't tried to punch a bird, but I have tried to punch a bee before.
A bee?
Yeah, I tried to punch a bee.
You tried to punch a bee?
I was in a beekeeping suit, so you don't have to worry about that.
No. Start from the beginning. Do it again. Say. You got to finish the story. Like, you can't just leave me out to dry like this.
Okay, so I went. We were beekeeping.
Okay.
It was my school's beekeeping club.
That's a completely normal thing to have in a school. Go ahead.
Of course. I wasn't in the beekeeping club. We were just visiting the bees.
Oh, you were a visitor to the school beekeeping club.
Yeah. We have a beekeeping club. The bees are all held at the science center downtown.
Okay.
So like the bees are there and they pollinate all the flowers around the lake bed. And I was in a bee suit and I thought it'd be super funny to try to punch a bee.
And how did that work out for you?
Well, I don't know if you know, but Beedrill is a bug and poison type. Both of those types resist fighting, and I was trying to punch it, so
you were doomed
the bee
from
just
kind
of got annoyed and flew towards my face. But like I was wearing a beekeeping suit, so I was fine. And then our beekeeping teacher told us off.
The mental images in this story never fail to impress me. I have to say that.
Yeah, I did try to punch a bee. But yeah, like the type chart is mostly inscrutable whenever you get outside of the basic elemental types.
Yeah.
Like poison, no one remembers what poison does ever. Did you know that Ghost resists poison?
I don't think that's correct.
It totally is. Ghost resists poison.
No, oh my god, it does.
Right?
Why?
You wouldn't have thought that because you're just thinking of, oh yeah, no. Gengar resists poison because he's also a poison type. But no, Ghost also resists poison for literally no reason.
That's the strangest thing. What? Huh?
So this is the reason why I think this is a super good idea.
Okay.
But getting out of user interface, there are 3 new Pokemon.
There are, yes.
So going one at a time, we'll start from the top.
Pikipek is my favorite one, and it's not just because he's the cutest boy in the world. Apparently, he can strike a tree 16 times a second, which is the exact same rate that Primate can crank his hog. So I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
one
no,
thing they have in
that is
common.
what we decided mathematically at the end of last episode,
Hmm.
is that
It's
Primate can do 16 cranks a second.
it's the Pokemon version of the Hertz. It's one over cycle, which
Yeah,
is
cranks per second.
yes, that's correct.
I mean, crucially, Primeape is also a pig-looking thing. It's a pig monkey. So it's a hog cranking its hog.
I can't believe we're talking about this for 2 straight episodes. Did we do this the first take?
We didn't no, we didn't.
Okay, okay.
Which, yeah, we haven't mentioned that yet. This is the second take for this episode, yet again.
Yeah, because God hates us and we are doomed to
But
die.
yeah, Pick-a-Peck has Skill Link as an ability, which is telling me that it'll probably get some kind of flying multi-hit move.
It's got to be something new. The only conceivable thing you could do on a thing that uses skill link would be something. I guess pin missile would work.
Yeah, like otherwise it's just getting Fury Attack, which was the standard multi-hit move that Birds learned in Gen 1.
Hmm.
But that doesn't sound good enough unless, even if they bump it to 25 power, it still won't be good enough.
Although if its wings turn into disgusting hands, it might be double slap, which I'd be
I
okay
hate
with.
you. Don't even joke about that.
Lugia got hands. It can grab stuff.
It learns Bullet Seed though.
Bullet seed.
That's right in its flavor text. It could spit seeds at high speeds, so it's definitely learning Bullet Seed.
So it's gonna turn into an anteater bird with hands.
Okay, but like it just needs to be good. Can we like count on our hands how many of the final starter birds are good at the end?
Staraptor's good. Fearo's good.
Is Firo really good
Fearo's-
though?
Yeah.
Like his design is cool, but is it good?
Yeah. Well, no, I guess not, is he?
It gets my favorite moment of flavor, which is Drill Run. Drill Run just as a move I love, because anything with any kind of drill like appendage on it gets Drill Run.
See, this is why we do 2 takes. This is why we delete the entirety of our podcast before. You never understood why you never explained why you like Drill Run so much.
I just like that it's a flavor move that is distributed across a variety of way different Pokemon whose only central feature is that they have drills on their heads, especially because so many of them are from the first gen.
But like what is apart from like Excadrill and other stuff, what else is it learned by?
It is learned by Seeking. It is learned by Rapidash. It is learned by Fearow.
So basically anything with a
Those are the
horn
three I
or a
always think
pointy
of.
bit on its body can learn it.
Yeah,
That's not a drill.
and I like flavor moves like that are clearly just like they're really working with design. And like I always like when there's kind of moves that could add additional coverage that wouldn't necessarily be covered by other niches, because obviously you're not going to give Fearow Earthquake or anything.
Well, you could if you weren't a coward.
It's one of the only like normal flyers that actually gets a ground coverage move, and by one of I mean it's literally the only one.
I feel like one of the normal flyers. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, because like Aerodactyl gets Earthquake.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense.
So yeah, Pick-a-Peck, please be
Please,
good. I love
please.
I love pileated woodpeckers.
Really?
It's specifically a pileated woodpecker because you can tell by its plumage.
It's
There's a pileated woodpecker that hangs around my house. It likes to peck the power pole outside my house to tell everyone that it's got a big dicky.
a big dicky.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
I didn't realize you were an ornithologist. What's your opinion on Yungoos?
Yungoos has Donald Trump hair. And by Donald Trump hair, I mean Boris Johnson hair. Because we're going to be topical here.
Okay, honestly, when are we going to get the Brexit Pokemon battle we've all been dying for the last 72 hours?
Yeah, like, okay, I don't think enough of the Pokemon regions are super xenophobic, so I think we just need to go to a region where they hate everyone.
Okay.
But I mean, psych, there's already games set in France.
Ouch. That was a shot at me. Wow. I can't believe you'd fuck me like this. I'm so angry at you.
Sick Bart.
Podcast canceled.
Podcast canceled. But no, the Brexit Pokemon definitely already exists, and I will explain to you who it is and
Lay it
why.
on me.
It's Bastiodon.
Because he's a wall?
First of
okay,
all,
this is just a
he's
Donald
big
Trump
and-
joke.
Okay, he's got a big ass wall for a face. He's super ugly. He learns both wide guard and block. And like aside, block is the funniest move because it does the same thing as mean look, but like it's for Pokemon that can't look mean enough to block them from leaving. So it's just like, it just sticks a big fat arm out. And it's like,
I
nope.
hope it learns fake tears too, because that would just complete the package for me.
Yeah, okay, like the Brexit moveset will contain fake tears, block, swagger.
Swagger's a good one.
And probably roar to make things
This
leave.
sounds less like Bastiodon and more like Sableye.
Ooh, yeah, no, but I don't think anyone that xenophobic is tricky enough to be a prankster Pokemon. But anyways, back to the actual Pokemon at hand.
Never.
Yungoos has giant teeth.
It does. Strongjaw is an interesting choice for an ability on this guy because we've only really ever seen it on Sharpedo, which didn't really use it that effectively.
And Tyrantrum.
Tyrantrum, yeah, but
which,
even then, Mold Breaker's better on him.
Mold Breaker's better, and even Head Smash is pretty good.
Rockhead.
Sorry, Rockhead used with Head Smash.
Yeah.
Because there's just something about a 150 power move that you can't really say no to.
Yeah. Stakeout will be good on, especially as a replacement for people like you and me who really like Analytic Starmie and how it was never used by anyone ever. Why don't you go ahead and explain the specifics of the ability, because you know it a little bit better.
Yeah. Stakeout, basically it deals twice the damage on a Pokemon that just switched into battle. So, that's using what you use Analytic Starmie for, because Analytic Starmie, you'll usually still have it timid and fast.
But it'll be much better in game types like doubles, where you're actually having switches instead of just hoping for one. And
and also it also works better when your Pokemon is just slower, because like Porygon 2 or Porygon Z could also use Analytic. I don't remember which one.
Z got adaptability, but I don't know if it got Analytic.
Oh no, yeah, Analytics, it's hidden. It's the whole line's hidden. And Magnezone also can get Analytic.
Yeah, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it's good. If it's anything like Sentret and Fur, it's not going to be anything.
Yeah, well, that's why we're like, I'm hoping something else gets Stakeout, because like I'm assuming Yungoos will get an evolution, but like something that discourages switches is good, but like unless it's like got a good attack stat to go with it and some decent speed.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I hope this is the year of more unique abilities on Pokemon, even if they're useless like that. I want more.
That's fair.
More Pokemon
that's the big
abilities.
thing, right? Not everything needs to be competitively viable.
Yeah, bingo.
Sometimes things could just be there for flavor, be fun, and we're done.
Fun in a kid's game?
I have literally never had fun in my life.
That's true.
I complained through the entirety of last night's Game of Thrones episode.
And how could you not, from everything I've heard about it?
Okay, but like, that's because you're listening to me, Brooks, and Zach talk about it. Listen to literally anyone else in the world, and they loved it.
My Facebook feed was blowing up with people who loved it. I can't believe we're turning into post Game of Thrones. I'm not letting this happen.
No.
Next.
I was halfway through the newest episode of post Game of Thrones before I started this podcast, so I'm going to just start talking like Brooks halfway through this. Like, the thing is, it's a bad show, and also I crank my hog, and also he scream at own ass. That's my Brooks impression.
Him scream into own ass.
So that's all for Yungoos today. The last one we got is Grubbin.
Grubbin, your little squishy bug boy, man.
Squishy little beetle larva. I love bugs. Bug Pokemon are often some of my favorite designs. It's like Bug and Poison. That's where all my faves are.
I'm wondering if you're going to get your second, probably good but probably not, Bug Electric Pokemon.
Yeah, it's possible, because it says that Grubbin likes to hang around power plants. But I mean, like, the Pokedex flavor for Heracross says that it like loves like drinking sap, but they didn't really go anywhere with that in its actual battling ability.
Didn't he get Sap Sipper?
I don't think so.
I feel like
he has Guts and Swarm as his main ones. I'm not sure what his hidden ability is, but I don't think it's Sap Sipper.
Oh, it's Moxie. That would be way more interesting.
Yeah. So like sometimes flavor doesn't go anywhere. Especially if you run by the theory that all flavor text in the Pokedex is written by the 10-year-olds that collect the data.
True. Very true.
Which is like one of my favorite little fan theories, because then you get stuff like, oh my god, I touched my Slugma and it was super hot. It must be 1,000,000 degrees.
This is so funny because a couple of buddies of mine work in the editing department for TPC, and I know they listen to this, and hey, you guys really need to write new flavor for a couple of different things.
Yeah, and also, I just remember reading about, like, just a quick aside about localization. Back in like the first gen, there's that one guy who is a localizer who also was always on Something Awful.
He was on Something Awful, like he was on bath salts, or
No, he's on Something Awful the forum.
okay, the nerds.
So this was in like one of the old Pokemon Let's Play threads where like all those guys hung out, and he was talking about localization of the old games because he'd been on there from Red and Blue all the way till right before Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They let him go.
A gamer girl.
Probably because he put too many references to Something Awful in Diamond and Pearl.
Did he really?
Like, my Pokemon is fight. Which is something that someone says to you.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, he said that when he was originally translating, he wasn't the one who wrote any of the all caps text. So all caps text being, of course, any character names, any Pokemon, like, descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pikachu's the mouse Pokemon, like that word. Mouse. So he had given a suggestion that they should translate, the way they should translate Slowbro was as visitor, because that is a way that the word that they used could be translated. And then they famously put in hermit crab. And like it's clearly not a crab, although it operates on like the same possibility, like something a shell attaching to its tail.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time in localization, though, because you just have to guess.
But like they could have got around that if they just listened to this one guy that they had on their staff.
It's kind of like how they did with Neubat for the German localization. It's named FM, like EF-EM, with the F and the M capitalized, and it's not the most creative selection, especially since the French, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, and English names all like play off the bat thing instead of the sound thing, which is so strange. You just have these renegade editors.
We should do an entire episode where we talk about different Pokemon's like translated names in different languages.
I could go on about this for hours.
Because there's so many good ones there.
Life suck.
Before we get back to the Pokemon at hand, though, I just want to say one more note that the guy from Something Awful said is that he wanted to call Stantler Scaraboo.
Scaraboo is a much better name. That is impressive, actually.
Right? Oh my god, and it would have been so good.
You could even do that with like Go-Goat or something like that. That's so unfortunate.
The one last thing we want to talk about with new stuff, new Sun Moon stuff, was the Battle Royal.
Oh yeah, I don't really understand how this is gonna work. It's not gonna see the light of day competitively. It's just gonna be like rotation.
No. Hey, remember rotation battles?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that in the demo, everyone ganged up on Poplio.
My poor baby boy.
Who, by the way, I mentioned this I don't think I'd mentioned this in the first episode because I don't think it had happened yet. It learns Disarming Voice, so Fairy confirmed.
I don't know about that. We
The only things that learn Disarming Voice that aren't Fairy types are Eevee evolutions.
And that's enough for me, honestly.
Yeah, everything else is a goddamn Fairy type.
You're so bought in for Poplio Fairy. I still want the evil jester Water Dark Poplio. That's what I want.
I don't need another Water Dark. Is Water Dark going to be the new firefighting Aury?
You better believe it. You better believe it.
Okay. I guess we'll move on from new Sun Moon news to the competitive scene.
We're not there yet.
Area,
Back it up. So
where are we
apart
first?
from the new Sun and Moon Pokemon news, there's a Shaman Distro starting Friday.
Right.
Get yourself some fuzzy grass ball.
I believe this one is this one's another Nintendo Network one.
Yes, I don't think GameStop has the codes for this one.
No, GameStop has the codes for Arceus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the last one that's going to be through them. Everything else is Nintendo Network for the rest of the year. So if you have multiple games, you can get multiple Shaman. Don't forget that part. Mm-hmm.
And you can technically do the same thing at GameStop. Just don't tell anyone you're doing it.
Yeah, and speaking of distributions...
Oh yeah, everyone's favorite Pokemon voted dead last in the Japanese Pokemon voting.
Basically, the Pokemon 720, so it's everyone but Volcanion, was in this poll. And Simisear ranked dead last, and they're distributing it.
God, I love TPC sometimes. They're such trolls.
They really know what they're doing as far as making me personally happy most of the time.
And making me personally miserable.
Yep. So, it has the Gen 6 exclusive work up because it can't learn work up in Gen 6 so far because it's not a TM anymore because it's the worst move.
Boy, I can't tell you what something I want more than a workup Panseer. That's
Well,
hitting all the
specifically,
bases for me.
oh no, yeah, it's Simisear. I said Simisage, but Simisear.
Simisear. It's the fire one. Let's not get confused here.
The evolved version of the fire one. Of these completely goddamn indistinguishable monkeys, the only one distinguishable is Simisage because he has Elvis hair.
Hashtag deport Simisear.
Hashtag Brexit.
Hashtag Brexit Simisear. Up next, I'm going to chatter about competitive for a little bit. National starts this weekend. We are still seeing a stunning amount of non-originality in teams. The over the last 192 teams that top cut over the last 24 regionals, of those 192, 147 of them have used Groudon.
Great.
125 of them have used Kangaskhan.
Incredible.
And then over 100 have used either Xerneas, Kyogre, Salamence, or Talonflame, which gives you a cool average of about 68% of all teams using at least one of those, most of them more. So thank you, Game Freak, for making a completely balanced and non-centralized metagame. I love you. Burn in hell.
Like, what if they had just made it like straight Ubers and just allowed everything, it would have had more variety.
I honestly think so, because at this point, we talked about this last episode, you're defining your team based solely on the two you pick. And let me pull it up real quick. Japanese Nationals when was this posted? Yesterday. And every single one of the top 8 teams used Groudon, and all but 2 used Xerneas. So, that just screams originality to me.
It's incredible. Right, because like the absolute top cut Pokemon, like going by Spawn God statistics, because they're the easiest accessible ones, like the ones that are so good that they're pretty much banned even from upper level play, is like the megas of Pokemon that are already good. So like Megas, Rayquazas, and Mewtwo's are all pretty up there.
We could have our own discussion about Smogon tiering, but you're right. There has to be some way to figure out what is not going to completely break the game.
But yeah, either way, I'm just saying like those ones are way up there, and those are ones you can use, but you can't use a lot of the things that are used in the Uber's metagame to deal with them.
Yeah, exactly, because they're not viable in this format. So
either they're not viable in this format, or they're just not allowed because it's only the specific box legendaries that were used.
Yep, and that's why I hate Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen.
Pokemon is the worst. The podcast is canceled.
Yeah, I think we've been canceled 3 times so far.
Yeah.
I mean, the only really bright spot is people are finding different ways to do this. I've heard a lot about Raichu getting some use. I'm not sure how, but that's pretty cool to me.
How does that even work? Is it Lightning Rod, Raichu? Just dealing with the abundance of thunder?
I'm thinking it's that, unless it somehow got Motor Drive, and I don't think it did. Yeah, it's got to be a Thunder. I'm guessing something in tandem with Primal Kyogre and just absorbing super effective Thunders, something like that.
Are these Raichus Surf Raichus? Like, there's a Surf event for Gen 6 in Japan, isn't there?
It wouldn't really, I don't think so. I think it's just being used for Lightning Rod.
Yeah. That's wild. I can't believe that. That's just...
Not sure.
Raichu, of all things.
Yeah.
The shitty older brother that the underachiever makes look bad.
The gross tan brother of Pikachu. Raichu. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the competitive end. So, question time. Hey, EFR, long-time listener, first-time asker. We've only had one episode. Please don't do this to me. I just got into Pokemon with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and recently played a couple of friendly matches against a friend who has been playing for years and got absolutely destroyed. Get owned, scrub. Any tips on how to have fun, friendly games between people who have wildly different amounts of preparation? He has a real VGC style team, and all I have are the pokes I use to beat Omega Ruby, plus some new trainees. I love trainees. That's really great. It makes me think of like you're in an office and you're literally like teaching a Magikarp how to use a computer. That's great.
Okay, yeah, but like a Pikachu in a tiny suit.
The tiniest suit imaginable.
Just the littlest suit. Also, anyways, the first part of the answer is get good.
Yeah, get very good. You're so bad right now. No, it's fine. A friend of mine who now works for Riot Games, it always says you take what you want to use and you make it broken. Like that's how it works. There are obviously some differences to that when it comes to what's in vogue and what's the flavor of the month, but as long as you kind of know the core mechanics and how to EV train and stuff, you can use pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, like a big thing is you can go like all hog wild on IV breeding and get like 5 perfect stats to start with and do perfect EV training. But like really just go with the dex nav.
Yeah, so the best way to do like finding the most beneficial Pokemon to start out with, even if you're not really overly concerned with making them quote unquote perfect, you can use the Dexnag function in your on the bottom screen. If the more essentially you chain the same Pokemon in an area, you can start to search for it, and you can just keep fighting them, and as you get more and more, you'll see the potential stat on the lookup screen go up, and the more stars you have, the more perfect IVs it'll have. And then once you're there, you can start to filter out which natures you want and which stats you think you should look for. But yeah, as long as you EV train from a good starting point, then there's no reason you can't at least be competitive with your friend.
Yeah, the other big one is natures. This is something that people won't think of very much until they're at like their end point, but it's like the first thing you have to consider.
Yeah, because a bad nature can really just break a Pokemon. You can have a flawless Pokemon, but if it has a gentle nature, it's not going to do you any favors.
Gentle and Lax are the two only entirely useless.
Terrible.
They're the most
so
the
bad.
only completely useless natures.
So really, just kind of we'll post some links in the podcast description, but you on how to use DexNav and how to EV train if you've never done that before. But just pick out some you think are good. Make sure they complement each other well. Make sure there's nothing that like just think of stuff that is used commonly by your friends or oh my gosh, I have like 6 steel types. Someone with an earthquake is going to run through me, you know.
Yeah.
Just use your common sense.
There are team builders where you put your team in and you put their movesets in, and it will just tell you at like the absolute basic point what your type weaknesses are.
Keep in mind that's a starting point.
Yes,
though,
that is a starting point because
gonna...
you have to start thinking of specific threats later. But if you have that starting point and you're not willing to do huge investment into considering specific threats, then usually you can get pretty far with just that.
Totally. Next question. What unused type combination do you want to see the most in Gen 7? Matt, you think about this all the time. You sleep thinking about Fakemon. Please take it away.
Fakemon is like my entire thing. I have a blog, fakemon.tumblr.com.
Nice plug.
That I used to update, but I don't update much anymore because I have a full-time job and, you know, doing things is effort. It took me like 2 years after buying a microphone to start this podcast. And it's only because Aury told me to.
That's just sheer laziness, honestly.
Okay. Anyway, out of all my my favorite different type combos that have been unused so far, my personal favorite is Electric Poison.
Electric Poison. Okay.
Because the two ideas I've seen work with this most frequently, one use the idea of broken or discarded batteries, leaking battery acid, using a bunch of acid moves on things.
Ooh, okay.
And then the other one was using the concept of a lemon battery, and then it combined it with like a UFO. So it was like this floating lemon with like electrodes stuck in it.
That's really gross.
And they're both
lemon,
like super good.
Like a lemon, like a sex scene and like a fanfic, or like what?
No, like a literal lemon. You disgusting, disgusting human.
I try. I really liked back when I was part of Smogon. I really enjoyed their Fakemon Cyclant, which was Ice Bug, and he got dual stab on a lot of cool moves, Bug Buzz, Blizzard, stuff like that. But I thought it worked really well in tandem with the ability they came up with, which was called Mountaineer, and essentially it just negated the first rock entry hazard or rock move that it switched in on. When I thought that was really cool. Even in doubles, it would work well. Even like with something that doesn't use entry hazards like this meta does, but switching into a Stone Edge for free would be pretty cool. And then
Yeah, when they
making him
in
really
doubles, like you could
fragile,
free switch into a rock slide, like that would be really, really good
very helpful.
because it's
Yeah.
something that comes up a lot.
But yeah, great typing. Really, really interesting. You could go a lot of different ways with that too, as far as the design goes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd really like to see
My
that.
personal favorite ice bug that I've seen. It's I'd probably still on like one of the first 2 pages in Fakemon because I update it so infrequently. Someone had made a dung beetle, but it was rolling a snowball instead.
That's kind of cute in a disgusting, awful way.
Okay, bugs are great, man.
Bugs are pretty great. From Colin Executor. I don't know who this is.
His
Generation.
URL is Executor. This is our first official Pokemon URL question.
Wow, I'm literally emailing Nintendo right now to send the police on your ass, you piece of shit. Generation 1 had 3 egg-themed Pokemon. Generation 2 had 3 egg-themed Pokemon. Generation 3 had 0. Generation 4 had 2. And all subsequent generations had 0. What happened? Can we expect a return to the Golden Age? Yeesh. They don't really have a lot of different designs for eggs, unless he's like referring to like execute and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So like we have thing partially hatched from egg. As far as old school monster designs go, that's like one of the most common things you'll see that are egg related, and they've covered that base. Execute are technically seeds, but they more or less cover just straight up eggs, and they go an interesting way with that because they're psychic eggs. Kind of weird, but kind of fun.
Really weird.
They covered like a nurturing mothering angle with the Blissey line.
But like, where else do you go with that? Like, do you have like a person who throws eggs and they're part of him? Do you like have the young Vandal Pokemon? Like, I don't understand.
One I thought of was just going with the idea of like a rotten or bad egg, which is like that was a glitch in third generation. Was the bad egg? It would show up in your party sometimes, and it would like make it so you couldn't battle because it wouldn't leave.
Yeah,
your
only
party.
when you use Game Shark a lot, Matt.
Yeah,
I think we just figured out what kind of a terrible person you are.
Okay, I'm only aware of it because I read a ton of Pokemon websites. Okay.
Sure. That's what we all say.
But anyways, just going with that idea of like kind of corruption, like just an egg with slime coming out of it. I like slime. I think more Pokemon should have slime. There's not enough slime in Pokemon as it stands.
You can't do that on Pokemon.
You can do slime.
Were there any shitty Pokemon rumors y'all had to myth bust growing up? Like, trust me, I got Pikachu to evolve into Pikablue with a Water Stone kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. All the time. You've got a really good one that I heard on the first take, and I also have a really good one.
Okay.
This might be
So there's this Pokemon called Flareth. It's supposed to evolve from Flareon, which means like it was actually trying to make Flareon good in the first gen, a noble pursuit.
Still won't happen.
Still won't happen. It has Flare Blitz now, but it's still bad.
So bad. God, it's so bad. I don't understand.
So what you had to do, you had to have 4 Moltres in your party. I was swimming in Moltres. I had a brother who had the game, and we would play on the emulator on Pokemon Stadium all the time, which allowed you to play at 4 times speed.
I literally don't understand how that works, but okay.
We basically, you put your game cartridge in there, and it allowed you to play it faster because it was able to just run it.
So you just ran through the game 4 times. You get a Moltres each time, and then just reset.
Well, like you could play through the entire game in like 10 minutes because you're going so goddamn fast. Also, because like this is Pokemon Stadium, I was of course immediately transferring my level 100s into the game.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I was a dumb little shit.
Yeah, but that's alright.
So, anyways, you had to take 4 Moltres to the girl who asked you to buy her a drink in the Celadon convenience store.
Hey, baby, I like how your Moltres is like.
You had to talk to her 100 times, and then on the 100th time, you went and got her a soda pop and brought it to her, and she would gift you with this Pokemon for, I don't know, wasting her goddamn time.
And you tried that?
I tried that, and it did not work.
So this is where the whole fedora nerd archetype came from. It was from giving girls, talking to them 100 times in a row,
Why
and
didn't
then
she
maybe
give
they'll
me a
give you the.
Flare-F? Why did I not? I put my kindness coins into the machine and she did not gift me with Flare-F.
Now I understand where MRAs come from.
Right there.
My favorite myth was and this actually was a real thing, but apparently, if there's a glitch in Red and Blue and Yellow where there's a truck sprite to the east of the
I
SS
don't even
Anne.
know if it's a glitch or just like an Easter egg that they didn't intend you to see.
It's not really something you're supposed to see. If you toggle no clip with a Game Shark or something like that, you can walk on the water to go see the truck. It's just like a little throwaway thing that they
Or
never
more
put in the
importantly,
game.
you could just not get cut from the ship captain and then faint off the ship and then have someone give you a Pokemon with cut.
That would involve you being nerdy enough to have another nerd friend who also had a nerd video game like this.
I looked
but,
up cheats on the web.
Nice. It's you Game Sharking piece of shit. Uh, but I eventually did that. I just messed with my buddy's Game Shark for a while and was like, oh, there's nothing under this truck like there's supposed to be, because you're supposed to go under it, use strength on the truck, and then a Mew would pop out or something like that. And that glitch actually does exist, but it doesn't work exactly like that. However, and this is completely true, in Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which is the worst game in the Pokemon series.
Oh, it's so good.
Fun. It's so bad.
We'll have this conversation
Shadow.
later.
That's fine. If there's a beauty in the quick battle mode, and if you fight her in Versus mode, she is like writing a song, and she goes, "There's no Pokemon under a truck. Maybe you'll just find a muck." And it blew my young 14-year-old mind.
That's so funny, though.
It's so great.
I had another one, too. I fell for these kind of Pokemon pranks all the time.
Yeah, because your uncle worked at Nintendo.
No, I was just extremely gullible.
Yeah, I can see that.
One time, my brother told me I was playing on his team in a Sega hockey game for the Genesis. I wasn't. I didn't notice because the game was going too fast for me to notice. He beat me 99-2. I somehow managed to score 2 goals not knowing I was playing for that team.
You own gold on accident,
right?
While not playing for his team. That's impressive.
I know. I don't know how it happened at all.
That is futility that is rarely matched nowadays. I'm very impressed.
Anyways, I did one. It was said if you beat the Elite Four with a Caterpie, it would allow you to walk to the left and right in the Hall of Fame, and that would bring you to the grass outside of Pallet Town. And like in both cases, they literally just had filler map sprites because they didn't feel like completing the room. But of course,
true sacrifices for lateral movement.
But yeah, I did manage to beat Lorelei with a Caterpie. But it's impossible to beat. It's very hard to beat Bruno with it because, Onyx has 180 base defense and is a rock type.
Sure.
And it's literally.
I'm wondering, could you?
It's literally
there's got to be
impossible
some way
to
to beat Agatha.
It's not.
Yeah.
You can't.
There's got to be something.
I think if you go in with like unlimited potions and just have her struggle herself to death, maybe.
No, because it'll be non-effective. Well, she'd struggle herself.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
That would make more sense.
But then again, like most, I think some of her moves could actually kill you, even if you're a level 100 Caterpie. Which I was.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
All right, that's all for this week.
That's all we got.
So let's all pray to the
out.
podcast gods that we managed to record an uninterrupted episode next week.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be just a damn miracle?
Wouldn't that just be the best?
God.
All right, see y'all.
Thank you.